National health insurance to cost $100 million for the initial phase. The teachers' union voices concern over violence among students. The long-awaited constitutional referendum could happen next year. Plus, a local recording artist to represent the Bahamas on the world stage. We've got those stories and a lot more coming up tonight. I'm Dana Smith, and MB12 starts right now. Topping news tonight, the first year of primary care services under government's proposed national health insurance scheme will cost around $100 million. This according to Deputy Chief Medical Officer Dr. DeLon Brennan, who gave MB12 a breakdown of government's proposed primary care package and what the public can expect.
All right, so in the primary care phase of national health insurance, the expectation is that we are going to spend on primary care about $25 million per quarter in order to get the services rolled in. So when we estimate what's already being spent on primary care, both on out-of-pocket expenditures in the public health sector, in the private sector through health insurance, and even with an increase, that estimates around $89 million or so. So when you look at that, we're expecting an increase in utilization. And so the roundabout number is around $100 or so million.
Exactly how much NHI will cost has been one of the biggest questions about the plan in recent months. Registration for NHI begins on January 1st, while primary care services, which is a subset of government's proposed vital benefits package, is scheduled to begin in April. Dr. Brennan told us what will be provided as part of that initial phase of NHI.
Primary care services, what we're looking at is what is being delivered on an outpatient basis within the medical community. So you're really talking about what do you get from your general practitioner, your family medicine specialist, your pediatrician, your internist, antenatal services that you get from your OBGYN. Those are primary care services. They're all delivered on an outpatient basis. You go in for a visit, you make an appointment to be seen, and then you have them done. In addition, the medications that they may say that you can take on an outpatient that you would take regularly, any diagnostic services that need to be done, all of those are included in that primary care package of services. So you're talking about if you needed a mammogram done, if you need a prostate exam done, if you needed to have those labs, x-rays, all of that on an outpatient basis would be covered by primary care.
Dr. Brennan explained, using NIB's database, eligible beneficiaries will be registered for NHI, provided a smart card, and allowed to choose their primary care provider and their insurer from among those who enroll. He said the entire group will total around 350,000 people, including citizens and legal residents. Prime Minister Perry Christie had said in October government is considering a tax to help fund the scheme, but Dr. Brennan noted that tax would only be necessary if the full vital benefits package will be rolled out.
So as far as I know, when it comes to taxation, when we roll out this primary care package of services, there is no new taxation that's going to occur with that. So all of those services that we talked about, that will be delivered without any new charges or cost to it, because we're already spending lots of money in the healthcare system. So what we're going to do is reallocate some of those funds for that. When we get to a larger package of services, when you talk about specialist visits, when you start talking about higher level radiology and laboratory services, you talk about inpatient hospitalizations and surgeries, that is the larger vital benefit package that you've heard about. That will require an increased amount of funding to come into the system. That will require taxation at that point, or an employer and employee contribution. But that is something that the expectation is Bahamians will have an opportunity to feel and touch NHI long before that occurs. And then if we decide we like what we have right now, going through this process, the improvements in primary care, the labs, the medications, the diagnostic services, and we want more out of the system. We want to have that higher level care, then we've made a conscious decision that we know that we also have to pay for it. That money isn't already in the system, we're going to have to pay for it. And when we make that decision, we say we want more and we're willing to pay for more, and it makes it an easy decision at the political directorate level for us to then have a tax put in place.
Dr. Brennan also noted NHI has a non-physician mandate, meaning healthcare providers can opt out of participating in NHI.
If a primary care provider wants to be included in the service, then they can be. They make an application and they're included in the service. But no one's mandating that they have to be included in the service. If they don't want to be an NHI participant, then they don't have to be. They have chosen they don't want to be a participating provider. That's okay. But if they would like for NHI to be able to, give them compensation for NHI beneficiaries coming to them for those services, then yes, they would have to sign on and become a part of NHI.
So doctors can opt in or opt out?
Absolutely. Physicians can opt in and opt out of being a provider for NHI.
Another teen has been taken into police custody for questioning in connection with Wednesday's fatal stabbing of 16-year-old Adonai Wilson. A 16-year-old male was arrested by police yesterday. He joins the 15-year-old and 17-year-old males who are already in custody for questioning in reference to the death of the 12th grade student at Doris Johnson Senior High School. Police today also launching an island-wide manhunt for the suspect wanted for questioning in connection with the country's latest murder. According to reports, shortly after noon yesterday, a man was riding a bicycle on Homestead Street when a man armed with a handgun approached him and shot him. The victim was rushed to hospital in critical condition where he succumbed to his injuries. Well, members of the Bahamas Union of Teachers and the Bahamas Educators Managerials Union held a press conference at Doris Johnson Senior High School this morning to express their concern about violence among students on and off the school campus. They said both unions are working diligently to reduce the presence of violence and disrespect in schools nationwide. Simone Davis reports.
The BAMU president said the incident that occurred just a few days ago that left one Doris Johnson student dead warrants a joint action between the government, the police force, and the school board, while stating that discipline and violence on and off campus is a great concern. It's useless to point accusing fingers, but better to work together and be accountable.
We felt that this incident warrants joint action, and that's why we are here today. This incident is it's most unfortunate. There has been a loss of life, especially a male Bahamian, and very concerned about that.
While expressing his condolences to the family of the murdered teen, acting president of the Bahamas Union of Teachers, Zane Lightbourne, said although the incident did not happen on the school campus, the unions recognize that violence and disrespect in the entire school system against both students and teachers is too out of control and should not be ignored.
We raised serious concerns about violence against teachers, about verbal abuse and physical abuse against teachers. The teachers here yesterday at Doris Johnson expressed that they have some difficulties with students, and this is not only here, but this is to every high school, and even some private school teachers, if you talk to, have the same concern that the level of respect and the level of disrespect is way out of control. It's nothing that we have seen before in the Bahamas. This is a new culture. This is not our culture. This is not the culture of the Bahamian people, who are calm island people, humble people, and respectful people.
In reference to the graphic video showing the incident that spread on the internet, Lightbourne also suggested that social media and the lack of respect toward family members and the Bahamian society played a vital role in the crime-infested nature of the country. He said although it's a hard task to control what students do with their cell phones, parents can step up and show more authority to keep their children from being involved in those acts.
The level of violence which is often seen or perpetrated in not only the regular media but social media, and is shedding a bad light on the country. The devastation that has been caused by the death of a student in a violent fight that was recorded, and we raised serious concerns about this. And therefore, going forward, we're going to have to find a way to speak to this, and we're expecting that consequences are going to be not only very suiting what the act was, but we intend that it send a serious message, and we expect that it will send a serious message going forward that this will not be tolerated.
Both union leaders said there are no solid plans as yet as to how they are going to address the issues, but they will find ways as soon as possible. Walgoose noted that in order to control discipline in the schools, it starts at home, with parents teaching their children right from wrong and to conduct themselves accordingly. Reporting for NB12, I'm Simone Davis.
The long-awaited constitutional referendum on gender equality will definitely occur next year, according to the head of the Constitutional Commission and former Attorney General Sean McQueenie QC. He told NB12 there's a reasonable expectation the referendum could take place in the first quarter of 2016. The PLP promise referendum has yet to manifest, having been delayed many times.
But certainly all indications are that the referendum should be held, I would think, in the first 3 months of next year, probably sometime in March, certainly before Easter. If it's not held before Easter, then we'll have to await the probably May or sometime after Easter is over.
Government has hopes for bipartisan support on all 4 of the constitutional bills. However, members from both sides of the political divide have voiced their opposition to one or more of the bills. Presently, the bills remain in the committee stage in the House of Assembly. McQueenie said he's expecting them to pass in Parliament as early as next month.
As you know, the bills have to be passed by Parliament first. So we expect that will happen perhaps as early as January, when the House comes back after the Christmas break. And after that, once the bills are passed with the requisite constitutional majorities in both the House of Assembly and Senate, then that will then pave the way for the referendum.
McQueenie said although the bills are pretty much set and he's not anticipating any significant changes to the questions, a number of amendments were foreshadowed and will be made once the bills get to the relevant stage. He added he anticipates that government will have an open mind when it comes to passing the bills.
I think the government will, keep an open mind as the debate progresses, and if the need for further amendments becomes manifest, I think the government will be readily inclined to make sure that the amendments are made so that the bills can pass with as impressive a majority as possible in both houses.
In the meantime, McQueenie said public education on the bills continues.